Hey there, future OTs.
Oh, and current OTs too. Welcome to the OTD study session, where we break down the toughest topics in occupational therapy coursework.
We dive in, take apart, and try to make those challenging concepts just a little easier to digest. Now, let's dive in.
Imagine you're faced with a really big, messy problem. Could be anything, right? Maybe you're trying to invent some new gadget or figure out a complex science puzzle, or maybe even help someone learn to tie their shoes again after something like a stroke. How do you start?
Yeah, where do you begin? Do you just jump in and start fiddling around?
Exactly. Or do you look for some kind of reliable guide, a roadmap maybe, or a blueprint, a sort of philosophy to follow? Well, today we're taking a deep dive into the world of occupational therapy OT. And we're going to explore how theory isn't just, academic talk. It's actually the essential roadmap practitioners use.
Absolutely. It's the bedrock, the foundation for effective, truly client-centered care. It turns guesswork into something really powerful and informed.
So our mission today is to sort of demystify theory in OT. We want to understand what it actually is, why it's so incredibly crucial, and how it's organized. Because it's got this hierarchical system, which sounds complicated, but is actually quite intuitive.
Right. We'll look at the difference between the big picture ideas, the overarching models, and then the specific hands-on guides they use for interventions.
And by the end, you should have a really clear grasp of how all these theoretical bits connect to what OTs actually do every day. It's like a shortcut to understanding the thinking behind this vital profession.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Occupational therapy feels very hands-on, right?
Yeah.
Helping people relearn daily tasks, get back to work. So why the need for theory? Isn't it just about, practical problem solving?
That's a really common question and a great starting point. It cuts right to why theory isn't just nice to have. It's absolutely fundamental. Think about it like building a bridge.
Okay.
You wouldn't just start throwing materials together, would you? You need engineering principles. Theory in OT provides those core principles. It gives practitioners a huge advantage.
Oh?
Well, first, it creates a clinical reasoning structure. OTs aren't just reacting randomly. They have a systematic way to think through really complex human situations. So if someone's struggling, theory helps them figure out not just what's wrong, but why.
The why.
The why, which guides them to solutions that actually work. It also directly feeds into evidence-based practice. It connects research findings straight to the strategies they use in therapy.
So they know what they're doing has backing.
Precisely. They're not just trying stuff out. They're using interventions proven to be effective. It also helps define the profession's identity. What makes OT unique compared to, say, physiotherapy or psychology? Theory helps answer that.
Okay.
And practically speaking, it gives everyone a common language. OTs can talk clearly to each other, to doctors, to families about what's going on. And finally, it's about organizing knowledge. There's so much information out there. Theory helps structure it, make it manageable, make it usable.
So it's not just about doing things. It's about doing the right things for the right reasons and being able to explain why they're the right reasons.
Like a scientific toolkit.
Exactly. A toolkit that lets them understand why something works and maybe even predict what might happen next. It moves beyond just guesswork.
That sounds incredibly powerful for the people they work with.
It is. And to make this toolkit manageable, it's not just one giant theory. It's structured hierarchically. Really practical. Think of it as, Mosey described it, in 3 main levels.
3 levels, okay.
At the very top, the broadest level, you have the paradigm, the foundational beliefs.
Got it.
Underneath that, you have occupation-based models. These are like overarching frameworks.
Framework.
And then at the most specific level, you have frames of reference. These are the detailed guides for actual assessment and intervention.
Oh, okay, I like that. Like building a house, maybe. The paradigm is the overall blueprint, the core vision.
Yeah, the absolute core. Then the occupation-based models are like different architectural styles. A modern style, a traditional one, a general approach to the whole building, but following the main blueprint.
That's a great analogy. They give a broad structure.
And the frames of reference? Those are the really detailed instructions. How to wire the kitchen, what kind of paint for the bedroom, super specific.
Exactly that, down to the nitty-gritty application.
Right. And maybe, as we go through these levels, we can keep a specific example in mind to see how it works.
Good idea.
How about an 8-year-old child? They say they have developmental coordination disorder, DCD. So maybe struggling with handwriting, getting dressed, catching a ball on the playground, that kind of thing.
Perfect example. Complex, multifaceted.
Okay, so let's start at the top then. Level 1, the professional paradigm. What exactly is that?
So the paradigm, as Kielhofner described it, is really the shared vision of the profession. It holds the most fundamental assumptions, the core beliefs. You could almost call it the culture or the soul of OT.
The soul of OT. I like that.
It answers the big questions. What do we value? How do we view people and occupation? What guides our ethics?
And has this soul always been the same?
No, that's what's fascinating. It's evolved quite a bit. It reflects changes in society, but also internal debates and growth within the profession itself. In the early 1900s, the focus was very much on occupation as therapy. Think moral treatment, a holistic view, purposeful activity itself was seen as healing.
Okay, that makes sense for the origins.
But then from the 1940s to the 1960s, there was a significant shift. The mechanistic paradigm took hold.
Mechanistic. That sounds
Yeah.
less soulful.
Well, it was driven by a desire for scientific legitimacy to align more with medicine. So it became more reductionist, more focused on the biomedical aspects. OTs got really good at fixing specific problems, muscle weakness, cognitive deficits, almost like fixing parts of a machine.
Okay, I can see how that might happen. But what's the downside?
The risk, and it was a big one, was losing sight of the whole person and the occupation itself. Focusing so much on the parts sometimes overshadowed the meaningful activities that make us human. It became a bit too component-driven.
Right. Treating the hand tremor, but maybe not the person's desire to, I don't know, garden or write letters.
Exactly. It led to a kind of professional soul-searching and identity crisis in the 70s and 80s. The profession had to really fight to reclaim its unique, holistic focus.
And did they succeed?
Yes, thankfully. From the 1990s onwards, we've seen the rise of the contemporary paradigm. This is a powerful return to and deepening of the core values, holistic, occupation-focused, and client-centered practice.
So what does this contemporary paradigm look like in practice? What are its key features?
Okay, there are four main pillars. First, it's fundamentally client-centered. The person isn't just a recipient of therapy, they're an active partner. Their values, goals, and choices drive the process.
So for our 8-year-old with DCD,
It means the OT works with the child and their family. What does the child want to be able to do? Maybe it's joining a game at recess, not just having neater handwriting on a worksheet. Their goals matter most.
got it. Pillar number 2.
A truly holistic perspective, seeing the whole person, mind, body, spirit within their environment, not just isolating the motor problem. For the child, it means considering their confidence, their social life, how they feel about school, not just their coordination.
Okay, whole person, number 3.
This is core. It's occupation-focused. Meaningful activities, occupations are central. They're used in evaluation, they are the therapy, and they're the desired outcome.
So the goal isn't just better fine motor skills.
Right. It's being able to button your own shirt or write your name confidently or play catch with a friend. The focus is on the doing, the participation in life.
Makes sense. And the last pillar.
It's complex systems-oriented, recognizing that people, their occupations, and their environments are all interconnected in dynamic ways. Change in one area can ripple through others.
So improving handwriting might boost confidence, which might lead to trying new things on the playground.
Exactly. It's not linear, it's interactive. These four pillars really define modern OT practice.
That feels much more comprehensive than the mechanistic view. What are the deeper beliefs driving this? You mentioned philosophy, and what about occupational science?
The philosophical roots are key. The AOTA's official statement puts it nicely. OT looks at the dynamic interactions of persons and environments and focuses on occupation as both a means of therapeutic intervention and as a desired outcome. It's about finding meaning and purpose through doing. This links back to early thinkers like Adolf Meyer, who talked about the value of time and work in bringing meaning to life.
And occupational science, how does that fit in?
Occupational science is the academic discipline that studies occupation itself. As Diane Pierce described it, it asks fundamental questions. What are occupations? How do they affect health? What patterns exist? This research provides the scientific foundation that underpins OT practice and informs the paradigm. It gives the why behind the focus on occupation.
Okay, so the paradigm is the big why, the core beliefs, the philosophy, backed by science. But a philosophy doesn't tell you exactly how to approach a specific client. How do OTs start translating this into action?
Right. That's where we move to level 2, occupation-based models. If the paradigm is the blueprint, these models are like choosing the architectural style. They provide broad organizing frameworks for thinking about the person, their environment, and their occupations.
So, different ways to structure your thinking, but all aligned with the main paradigm.
Exactly. Each model offers a slightly different lens, a different way to organize the complex information about a client, but they all share that holistic, occupation-focused, client-centered view. And crucially, they apply across all ages, conditions, and settings. They bridge the gap between the big philosophy and the practical doing.
Okay. Can we look at a couple that might be relevant for our 8-year-old with DCD?
Definitely. A very common one is the model of human occupation, or MOHO, developed by Gary Kielhofner and colleagues. MOHO helps OTs understand how people choose, organize, and perform occupations. It looks at 3 key interconnected parts.
3 parts.
Yes. Volition, which is all about motivation, what the person values, what interests them, their confidence. Habituation, which covers their roles and routines, being a student, a family member, their daily habits. And performance capacity, which is their underlying physical and mental abilities, their motor skills, strength, memory, etc.
So for our child, MOHO helps the OT explore. What motivates this child? Volition. How do their school routines or home habits impact things? Habituation. And what are their specific physical skills or maybe attention skills affecting tasks?
Yeah.
Performance capacity.
Precisely. It gives a structured way to understand the whole child's engagement in occupation. Another really useful one, especially given the coordination issues, might be the ecology of human performance, or EHP.
Ecology, so environment.
Exactly. Dunn and her colleagues developed this one, and it really highlights how the environment, the context, shapes performance. The core idea is that performance happens when a person's skills match the demands of the task within a specific environment.
So maybe the difficulty isn't just the child's coordination, but maybe the noisy classroom or the type of pencil they're using.
Yes. EHP prompts the OT to look at the task demands and the environment just as much as the person's skills. And it offers 5 clear strategies. Maybe establish or restore a skill in the child, or adapt the task or environment, or alter the context altogether, or prevent problems, or create better opportunities.
Adapt, alter, prevent, create. That sounds very practical.
It is. And one more example, Occupational Adaptation, or OA, by Schade and Schultz. This one focuses more on the person's internal process of adapting.
Internal adaptation.
Yeah, it looks at the dynamic between our innate desire to master things, the press for mastery, and the challenges the environment throws at us, the demand for mastery. The goal of OT, through this lens, is to help the person improve their adaptive capacity so they can achieve relative mastery, feeling competent and satisfied in their occupations.
So for the child, it's about building their internal ability to cope and succeed when faced with challenges like tricky buttons or a difficult ball game.
Exactly, helping them become better adapters. So you see, these models offer different complementary lenses, all grounded in the paradigm to understand the bigger picture of someone like our 8-year-old.
Okay, that makes sense. We have the big philosophy paradigm and these broad organizing lenses models. But now, how do we get down to the real specifics? The what do I actually do in therapy tomorrow level? The detailed instructions for the rooms in our house analogy?
You've got it. That brings us to level 3. Frames of reference. These are the most specific guides. Mosey defined them as systems of compatible concepts drawn from theory that guide a concrete plan of action assessment and intervention, but within specific OT domains of concern.
Specific domains. So not for everyone like the models.
Right. Frames of reference, or FORAs, are typically focused on particular populations, conditions, or types of problems. While a model like MOHO can apply to anyone, and FORA might be specifically about, say, biomechanics for physical injuries, or sensory integration for children with sensory processing issues, or motor learning for someone with DCD.
Okay, so they're more specialized toolkits.
Exactly. Their purpose is to translate scientific knowledge into very practical, evidence-based techniques for those specific situations. They tell you what to assess, how to assess it, and what interventions are likely to work based on theory and evidence. They ensure consistency and effectiveness.
What makes up a frame of reference? Is there standard structure?
Yes, generally they have key components. First, a clear domain of concern, who or what is this 4R for, e.g., motor skills in children with DCD. Second, a theoretical base, the supporting theories and evidence explaining why this approach works, e.g., principles of motor learning theory.
Okay, the why.
Then, a function-dysfunction continuum. This is basically the assessment guide. What does good function look like in this domain? What does dysfunction look like? And how do you measure where someone falls on that spectrum?
Makes sense. Assessment criteria.
Next are the postulates of change. These are the core principles of intervention. Essentially, if the OT does X, e.g., provides specific feedback, then Y change is expected in the client, even also improved motor accuracy. They guide the treatment plan.
The how-to principles.
Right. And finally, the 4 details specific evaluation tools and intervention techniques, procedures, and activities, all linked back to the theoretical base and postulates of change. Plus, ideally, the research evidence supporting its effectiveness.
Wow, that's incredibly detailed. So for our 8-year-old with DCD, an OT might choose, say, a motor learning frame of reference.
Exactly.
And that 4 would tell them, okay, based on motor learning principles, here's how you observe their handwriting grip evaluation. Here's why practice and feedback are crucial theoretical-based postulates. And here are specific activities like tracing shapes or playing targeted catching games, intervention techniques.
You've nailed it. It provides that very specific, actionable guidance.
And these levels, paradigm, models, frames of reference, they don't just exist separately, right? How do they connect in everyday practice?
Great point. They absolutely work together. The Occupational Therapy Practice Framework, or OTPF, currently in its 4th edition, but the principles hold from the 3rd, really helps integrate everything. Think of the OTPF as the profession's official guide or common language document.
The playbook.
Yeah, the playbook. It outlines the domain of OT, what OTs focus on. Things like occupations, ADLs, IDLs, play, etc., client factors, body functions, values, performance skills, motor, process, social skills, performance patterns, habits, routines, and contexts and environments. These are the very things our models help us analyze.
So the models help organize thinking around the OTPF domain elements.
Precisely. And the OTPF also outlines the process of OT, how OTs deliver services. This includes evaluation, creating the occupational profile, analyzing performance where models and FORS guide assessment, intervention, planning, implementing, reviewing where FORS guide specific actions, and targeting outcomes.
So it all ties together. The paradigm sets the philosophy, the models provide broad frameworks to understand the OTPF domain, and the frames of reference give specific strategies for the OTPF process, especially intervention.
You've got it. It's a unified system, ensuring care is comprehensive, theory-based, evidence-informed, and consistent. The blueprint, the architectural style, and the detailed room plans all working together from one master plan.
Okay, this is making so much more sense now. Let's bring it back concretely to our 8-year-old with DCD. Walk us through how an OT would apply this whole hierarchy paradigm model 4 to help them with handwriting, dressing, and playing catch.
Okay, let's do it. So first, the OT approaches the child through the lens of the contemporary paradigm. That means being client-centered. Asking the child and family, what's most important for you to be able to do? Is it writing birthday cards, joining tag at recess?
Not just assuming better handwriting is the goal.
Exactly. It means being holistic, looking beyond just the motor skills. How's their confidence? Are they avoiding playground activities? How's the classroom set up? And it's occupation-focused. The therapy targets the actual activities, practicing dressing sequences, using adaptive writing tools for homework, playing ball games.
All right, paradigm sets the tone. What next?
Next, the OT selects an occupation-based model to structure their thinking. For this child, OHO could be really helpful. They'd explore the child's volition. Are they motivated to practice? Do they believe they can improve? Their habituation. What are their morning routines like for dressing? How does homework time usually go? And their performance capacity. Assessing their specific motor skills, coordination, maybe even attention or sensory processing. MOHO helps build that rich occupational profile.
So MOHO gives the big picture understanding of the child doing things.
Yes. Then, for the specific how-to, the OT selects a frame of reference. Given the DCD, a motor learning 4 or perhaps a sensory motor 4 makes sense.
Okay.
This 4 guides the specific evaluation, maybe using a standardized coordination test, analyzing video of them catching a ball, observing their pencil grip and posture during writing. And it dictates the intervention, using principles like breaking tasks down, providing clear feedback, lots of practice in different contexts, maybe using visual cues for dressing or adapting the ball type for catching practice. The 4 provides the evidence-based techniques.
So the paradigm ensures the approach is right. Client-centered, holistic. The model helps understand the whole situation, child plus occupation plus environment. And the frame of reference provides the specific tools and strategies for intervention.
You've synthesized it perfectly. It's not just about labeling the problem, it's a structured, multi-layered roadmap for understanding and solving it, always focused on enabling that child's participation in their meaningful occupations.
It really highlights how theory isn't just academic, it's intensely practical, a living framework they use daily.
Absolutely. And it's not a static framework either. OT theory is constantly evolving.
Oh, what kinds of things are emerging?
Well, we're seeing more focus on technology integration. How can things like virtual reality, telehealth, or smart home tech support occupation? How do we incorporate that theoretically? There's also a growing emphasis on occupational justice.
Occupational justice.
Yeah, looking critically at how social factors, poverty, discrimination, policy, create barriers to people participating in occupations. It pushes the theory to consider broader societal contexts and, of course, deeper neuroscience integration. As we learn more about the brain, OT theory adapts to incorporate that knowledge, refining how we understand things like motor control, sensory processing, and cognition.
So the field keeps learning, keeps adapting its theoretical tools to better understand and help people engage in their lives.
Constantly. It has to remain relevant and effective.
This has been incredibly insightful. So just to wrap up the key takeaways for everyone listening, theory is absolutely essential in OT. It provides the structure for effective, evidence-based practice. It's not just academic.
Right. And it's organized hierarchically. The foundational paradigm, core beliefs, the overarching occupation-based models, organizing frameworks, and the specific frames of reference, intervention guides. Each level serves a purpose, but they all interconnect.
And the current contemporary paradigm really emphasizes being occupation-focused, holistic, and client-centered. The models and frames then translate this philosophy into practical guidelines for assessment and intervention.
And it all works together, often integrated through frameworks like the OTPF to ensure care is comprehensive and coherent. Plus, it's always evolving.
So, thinking about this, what does it all mean for you listening? Maybe you're thinking about a career in healthcare, maybe you work with an OT, or maybe you're just curious about how complex problems get tackled. Here's a thought to leave you with. If theory provides this powerful why and how for OTs helping others with their occupations, what aspect of your own daily occupations, maybe something you struggle with or something you want to master, could benefit from applying a more structured, maybe even a theoretical approach? How could understanding the why help you find a better how?
That's all for this episode of the OTD study session. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful and want to stay up to date with future lessons, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of occupational therapy.